Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox. I would like to welcome you to the Sunday Book Review. The Sunday Book Review is the series where I discuss books which impact the compliance practitioner, the legal professional, and the business professional. I hope you will enjoy this episode. March 22, 2020, the Thriller Edition. These books come from the New York Times Thriller Roundup by Sarah Lyall. The first up is Graham Moore's The Holdout. In this case, the heroine who a decade ago convinced her own jury to acquit a teacher of murdering a young student whom she had become close to. The case is now considered an OJ-level miscarriage of justice, with everyone certain that they let a guilty man go. To mark the 10th anniversary, a true crime podcast has rashly invited the jurors to unite at a hotel where they spent many months sequestered coming up with the verdict. It turns out to be a terrible idea when they start dying off. Next up, Pretty as a Picture by Elizabeth Little. A film editor who can't tell much where the story ends and life begins is an ideal narrator for a book that pays homage to the Hollywood and classic detective fiction. Hired by an eccentric director to work on a true crime movie about a long-ago murder, the heroine travels to an island off the coast of Delaware, where she's ordered to relinquish her phone, to talk to no one, and remain isolated. No one will tell her why her predecessor was fired or why accidents keep happening to the crew. When the actress playing the victim turns up dead, it looks like the protagonist is next on the killer's list. The book celebrates women who have each other's backs and put their friends ahead of men's. It's also a valentine to the intoxication of filmmaking. Next up, Dead to Her by Sarah Pinborough. In this ingenious book, it chronicles a deranged love triangle with a rationality-defying last-minute surprise. The heroine is married to an older, richer, slightly dodgy man who left his first wife after their torrid affair. The wife's insecurity is stirred by the sudden arrival of an even younger and hotter new wife of a ex-friend. The new woman radiates lust, not just towards her physical, unappealing husband. Whom is this person calling in the middle of the night, and why is the protagonist so desperate to hide the story of what happened? This book has shades of Rebecca and Body Heat, and there are drug-fueled raves where possible orgies, or are they just memories? For readers who like this sort of thing, the real answer doesn't come up until the end, or does it? And so the final is The Other Mrs. by Mary Kubica. Hoping to repair their marriages, the Fausts move to a creepy, crumbling house on a remote island of Maine that once belonged to the protagonist's sister, but who had hanged herself in the attic. The angry, gothed-out daughter now greets them with a t-shirt that says, "I want to die." Even worse for marital equanimity, a woman down the road is murdered soon after they arrive. The characters are not immediately clear, but some of the craziness of an unhinged lover, a lonely, valiant little girl abused by a stepmother, and others are. All will be revealed in time, including the truth about the protagonist who spends so much time in the book trying to make amends to his wife, or so we think, until we get to the narrative on the end. I've got great empathy to do science and avoid judgment. So some great thriller reads if you need some escapism about now. This is Tom Fox again. I hope you've enjoyed my detours into escapism and thrillers from last week to this week to give you something to think about other than the coronavirus crisis that we find ourselves in. I hope you will self-isolate and stay safe out there and curl up with a good book. Also, if you want to have some podcasts, please check out all of the podcasts on the Compliance Podcast Network, including 2 new offerings, Compliance Live and Jamming with Jason. So check out the Compliance Podcast Network.